Hi, by the end of this video, you will know how to resign gracefully from your job without burning bridges. Hi, I'm Bradshaw, and in this channel, we talk about tips and tricks on how to thrive in your life and career as a highly sensitive person. Now let's get started. The first step to resigning gracefully is that make sure that your decision to resign is final. When you utter the words "I quit" or when you give your manager the resignation letter, make sure that this is final. And the way for you to do it is to really reflect why you're resigning in the first place. When you go in that room and your manager will ask you why you want to resign, I am 100% gonna guarantee you that they will try to counter offer you. Maybe not at the same moment that you're resigning, but they will try to talk to you and give you what you want. So why am I advising that going in there and having a final decision? This is because it will reflect badly on you if you tell them that you want to quit, but then you are giving in to their counter offer. And as tempting as it could be to give in to their counter offer, to not quit when you have decided and even wrote the resignation letter, gave it to them, it's gonna reflect badly on you. It's gonna reflect badly on yourself, the way you see yourself, because you have made a decision and you retracted that decision as well. And yes, you might be able to get what you want at the moment, but in the long run, most of the time, your career will not move forward in the way that you wanted to. So if you are not decided on really resigning, what I would advise is talk to your manager or talk to your team leader and tell them, give them a laundry list of what you want to happen and the recommendations or the steps that you are suggesting to make those things happen. Don't just come to them and complain and tell them that your career is at a stale and not give any recommendations. So this advice is for people who are not experiencing any kind of abuse. If you're experiencing any kind of abuse, like emotional abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, sexually abused by your boss or your coworkers, you don't even need to think about it. I would advise you to just get out of there right away as soon as you can. I'm gonna say this again. I already said it in step 1, but if you're experiencing any kind of abuse, just leave the company right away. There is no amount of money that will justify putting yourself at risk, your mental well-being, your emotional and your physical well-being. Just leave the job. With that being said, the number 2 step is that give the right amount of time that you agreed in your contract when you signed the contract and first got to the company, and it usually says give so and so X amount of time notice when you're resigning. Usually it's 2 weeks. Most of the time it's 1 month of notice to give them ample time to find your replacement, to train your replacement, and to let them know about all the other things that you are doing for the company. Recently I spoke to someone and she was working in a company. It was a very toxic environment and her emotions were so high. She just wanted out right away very quickly, and so that's what she did. And I believe she did the right decision because she just took care of herself, but also she felt guilty. And I can see why she felt guilty, because she didn't give her fair amount of notice to the company. It was a high paying job, but it was also a high stressful job. So in order for you to avoid feeling guilty afterwards and negating your decision of leaving the company and basically just burning the bridges, just severing the ties with those people that you worked with and worked for, just give the right amount of time that you agreed on at the beginning. Number 3 is make sure that from the time that you resigned up to the time of your last day, you're still giving your best to your role and to your company. A lot of times when people resigned and just give their resignation to their boss, they just don't care. They don't care at all, and it shows in their performance, it shows in their presence in the job. By doing that, you are showing what kind of person you are to your teammates and to your bosses. When you do that, or if you do that, you won't be able to get recommendations to your next job. And there must be a reason for you to wanting to do that. I get it, but have enough self-discipline to really just finish strong in that career, finish strong in that role role so that you won't have a bad blood or bad impression left when you leave the company. Number 4, as tempting as it might be, don't tell everyone that you're resigning. Don't tell your client, don't tell your other coworkers. Just notify the people that are the most important. For example, of course, your boss, your boss's boss, your direct clients maybe during the last week. But telling everyone on the day off that you resigned, it's gonna cause alarm to people, and it's gonna cause this unnecessary worry that you're bringing on to the company. Unless that's what you want, which is not good for you, which is not good for leaving gracefully, I highly advise that you keep it at a minimum. You keep it to even your closest friends at work. Just don't tell everyone that you're resigning. Another reason for the last step is that when you tell people that you're resigning, normally they want to know why you are doing that. And this will be the number 5 step, is that don't badmouth the company after you submitted your resignation and even after you left. So when you tell people that you're resigning, they'll ask you why. And sometimes when your emotions are still high, you might be tempted to tell them the bad parts of your job. And if you've stayed in your job for at least a year, there must be some good things in there. I do believe that everyone won't just let yourself be treated badly for that long. So don't badmouth your company or your boss or anyone that you worked with. Is very important, because people will think that if you're badmouthing someone, if you're gossiping about someone, that you're gossiping about them too. And you don't want that reputation. That's not who you are. This is not the way to end this job that you had and kept for a certain amount of time. Number 6 is, if you have decided and your last day is set in stone, it's already happening, create a transition document where you're going to write down all your tasks. Start with your major tasks, and if you have time, your minor tasks. Write down, describe what those tasks are, describe the documents that you have for your tasks, the deliverables, the point of contact, all those people, if you have the time. This will also make it easier for you to transition the job, the role that you have. There are 2 things that this will give you. Number 1 is it will position you as someone who still care even though they have resigned in that role, or they're leaving the company. It will give an impression to your coworkers and to your managers that you still care even though you're about to leave them, and this will make them feel probably almost emotional and nostalgic of who you are as a team member in their group. And number 2 is that this will show them what kind of employee you are, what kind of expert you are in that field, what kind of contributions you're giving to the company. Oftentimes when you are working with someone or working for someone, they don't really see all the tasks that you're doing, and everybody knows this. Not all managers can appreciate you, but writing this document, giving them that transition document, will really show them, hey, these are all the tasks that I'm doing. I'm giving it to the next person, and I'm just not leaving you behind. Also, this is how valuable I am and I was after I leave. This will create a lasting impression. You won't burn bridges in this way when you do this step. Number 7 is, this might be simple, and it's funny that I'm saying this, but not many people do this, and many people forget. Many people really get into the peak and the trenches and high emotions when they're resigning. It's better to resign in person. Resign in person, or nowadays in Zoom, because not everybody can still go to their work. Don't resign via text. Don't resign via email. Yes, you're gonna send the email, the signed document to your boss, to maybe your team lead or whoever you are telling or notifying that you're resigning. But tell your superior in person or in Zoom first before you send the document. And this is just as a person, as a respect to the company that helped you grow your career. And no matter what kind of hardship and what kind of suffering you endured, it's speaking about you as a person. You're giving giving them that respect. And if they don't respect you, if they get mad at you for resigning in person or in Zoom, that's on them. Again, I'm gonna reiterate this as much as I can. If there is a danger of you doing that in person, don't do it. But if you can, you should and you must resign in person or in Zoom before you submit it via email. When you resign in person or in Zoom, there will be a conversation between you and your boss. You should be ready for that. And before you go into that room, knowing that you're resigning, have a list of all the things that the company gave you in a positive manner. For example, they gave you training, they gave you exposure, you met friends, you met people, you learned what you don't like, you learned what you didn't like. And then also have a list of the things that really didn't speak to you or you don't like and the reason why you're resigning. And that's okay, as long as you are communicating it respectfully and emotions are okay. No problem with crying, no problem with being upset, but be respectful of it. Make sure that your boss doesn't feel threatened. Make sure that nobody feels threatened in that room. And it's just a basic human interaction that is very important in this society right now. We are forgetting about it because the world is so emotional right now, and I get it. But as you, as a highly sensitive person, you can tell and you can read people. So have that strength in you to be respectful and to be really anchored why you are in that room, why you were working for that company, and why you're resigning. That's a very important piece of it. Number 8, and probably the most forgotten of all, especially by highly sensitive people, introverts like me and you, because we are shy and we're kind of embarrassed to tell the world what we did or ask for validation or ask for, hey, what did I do good? If you are resigning, it is very important that create this, what I call the compliment box or the compliment file. The compliments files that you're gonna get are validations or recommendations or praises from your clients, email, text message. And if someone tells you verbally, ask them to write it in email, or if they can, write you a recommendation letter. There are 2 steps to do this. Number 1 is like what I said, just accumulate or collect everything that you have. Put it in a file, put it in a hard disk, or email it to yourself, because you would need that in the next job or next career, or even if you're running a business, you'll need those in order for you to start over again in another company that you are gonna apply for. And then number 2 is ask for recommendation letters. In asking recommendation letters, nobody wants to think what to write in that paper. So I would ask the person and give them a format. Maybe like tell them, these are the projects that we work with and these are what I did. Will you please put it in a nice paragraph and include in there what is the impact that I gave or I had in your team or in your project or in the budget or whatever it is. You know best what you did for that person, for that client, for that boss. Many times people forget. People forget what you did. People forget how awesome you are. So there's no shame in reminding them, hey, remember I helped you with this 1 billion project, and if it wasn't for me, you know, this project won't be a success. I mean, don't be too like inflated ego, but just tell them that I helped in this part. This is the piece of the puzzle that I helped you with. And that will help you and them to remember what you did for the company. All right, so those are the 8 things that you can do to help you resign gracefully and not burn bridges. If you have any questions for me, just leave it in the comment section or join the Meaningful Profession for Highly Sensitive People Facebook group that I created for you, and I give a lot of tips and tricks there that I don't give in any of my social media or YouTube video. It's exclusively for the members of that group. I hope you learned something from this video. I will see you guys again next time. Bye!